Introduction. COP26 is the most recent annual UN climate change conference. COP stands for Conference of the Parties, and the summit was attended by the countries that signed the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, a treaty that came into force in 1994. 200 countries are being asked to show their plans for cutting emissions by the year 2030. In 2015, they all agreed to make changes in order to try to slow global temperature rises. Specifically, they promised to limit any global temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Around the world, storms, floods, and wildfires are intensifying. Air pollution sadly affects the health of tons of millions of people, and unpredictable weather causes untold damages to homes and livelihoods too. But while the impacts of climate change are devastating, advances in tackling it are leading to cleaner air, creating good jobs, restoring nature, and at the same time unleashing economic growth. Despite the opportunities, we are not acting fast enough. To avoid this crisis, countries need to join forces urgently. In November, the UK, together with our partner Italy, will host an event many believe to be the world's last best chance to get runaway climate change under control. For nearly 3 decades, the UN has been bringing together almost every country on earth for global climate summits, called COPs, which stands for Conference of the Parties. In the time, climate changes has gone from being a fringe issue to a global priority. This year will be the 26th annual summit, giving it the name COP26. With the UK as president, COP26 takes place in Glasgow. In the run up to COP26, the UK is working with every nation to reach agreement on how to tackle climate change. More than 190 world leaders are expected to arrive in Scotland, together with tens and thousands of negotiators, government representatives, businesses, and citizens for 12 days of talks. Not only is it a huge task, but it is also not just yet another international summit. Most experts believe COP26 has a particular urgency. To understand why, it's necessary to look back to another COP21, took place in Paris in 2015. For the first time ever, something momentous happened. Every country agreed to work together to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees and aim for 1.5 degrees, to adapt to the impacts of changing climate and to make money available to deliver on these aims. The Paris Agreement was born. The commitment to aim for 15 degrees is important because every fraction of a degree of warming results in tragedy, of many more lives lost and livelihoods damaged. Under the Paris Agreement, countries committed to bringing forward national plans setting out how much they would reduce their emissions, known as Nationally Determined Contributions or NDCs. They agreed that every 5 years they would come back with an updated plan that would reflect their highest possible ambitions at the time. The run up to this year's summit in Glasgow in the moment delayed a year due to the pandemic, when countries update their plans for reducing emissions, but the commitment laid out in Paris did not come close to limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees, and the window for achieving this is closing. The decade out to 2030 will be crucial, so as momentous as Paris was. Countries must go much further to keep the hope of holding temperature rises to 1.5 degrees alive. Next, moving on to literature survey. As the world prepares for COP26 in Glasgow in November, international researchers have been conducting a wide range of environmental studies at Diamond that will help them to inform debates and provide sustainable solutions. The platform of ongoing research at Diamond has been a long-term commitment to an environmentally sound workplace with the aim of continuous improvement in environmental performance to achieve sustainability across all operations. Moving on to problem analysis. Not enough has been done at the meeting to reduce emissions consistent with avoiding dangerous climate change in decades to come. There has been lots of pledges and launching of encouraging new international initiatives, some of them more meaningful than others, but genuine urgency and a willingness to match words with action and to close the yawning gap between pledges and detailed short-term plans is still missing. Governments need to move forward from this summit and renew determination to cooperate, urgently build on what's agreed here, and strengthen their nationally determined contributions (NDCs) in the next year, while providing the finance that poor countries and vulnerable populations need. Moving on to global changes due to pollution. By the late 1890s, Samuel Pierpont Langley, along with Frank W. Very, had attempted to determine the surface temperature of the moon by measuring infrared radiation leaving the moon and reaching the earth. The angle of the moon in the sky when a scientist took a measurement determined how much CO2 and water vapor the moon's radiation had to pass through to reach the earth's surface, resulting in weaker measurements when the moon was low in the sky. The result was unsurprising given the fact that scientists had known about infrared radiation absorption for decades. In 1896, Svante Arrhenius used Langley's observations of increased infrared absorption where moon rays pass through the atmosphere at a low angle, encountering more carbon dioxide, to estimate an atmospheric cooling effect from the future decrease of CO2. He realized that the cooler atmosphere would hold less water vapor and calculated the additional cooling effect. He also realized that cooling would increase snow and ice over high altitudes, making the planet reflect more sunlight and thus further cool down. As James Kroll had hypothesized, overall Arrhenius calculated the cutting CO2 in half would suffice to produce an ice age. He further calculated that a doubling of atmospheric CO2 would give a total warming of 5 to 6 degrees Celsius. So, what do we need to achieve COP26? Number 1. Secure global net zero by mid century and keep 1.5 degrees within reach. Countries are being asked to come forward with ambitious 2030 emissions reductions target that align with reaching net zero by the middle of the century. During deliver To deliver on these stretching targets, countries will need to accelerate the phase out coal, curtail deforestation, speed up the switch to electric vehicles, encourage investment in renewables. 2. Adapt to protect communities and natural habitats. The climate is already changing and it will continue to change even as we reduce emissions with devastating effects. At COP26, we need to work together to enable and encourage countries affected by climate change to protect and restore ecosystems, build defenses, warning systems, and resilient infrastructure and agriculture to avoid loss of homes, livelihood, and even lives. Over to Satish.
Mobilize finance. To deliver our first two goals, developed countries must make good on their promise to mobilize at least $100 billion in climate finance per year by 2020. International financial institutions must play their part and we need to work towards unleashing the trillions in private and public sector finance required to secure global net zero. 4. Work together to deliver. We can only rise to the challenges of the climate crisis by working together. At COP26, we must finalize the Paris Rulebook, accelerate action to tackle the climate crisis through collaboration between governments, business, and civil society. Government ministers at 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of the parties have reached a deal on further steps to reduce greenhouse gas emission after discussion overran by 24 hours. On 13 November, representatives from nearly 200 countries agreed the final text of the deal, which pledges further action to curb emissions, more frequent updates on progress, and additional funding for low and middle income countries. The science is clear. The impact of climatic change are already impacting every country in the world, and no region will be left untouched. Meanwhile, vulnerable communities, those least responsible for creating the problem, are feeling the effects of a warming planet most acutely. For the sake of people's lives and livelihoods, global leaders must move from word to action. COP26 is the time for bold leadership on climatic change. Held in Glasgow, Scotland from October 31 to November 12, 2021. COP26 is a key moment for countries, cities, business, and more to keep the Paris Agreement on climate change on track and put forward ambitious, equitable solutions for zero carbon future. Solution. The main ways to stop climate change are to pressure government and business to keep fossil fuels in the ground. Fossil fuels include coal, oil, and gas and the more than the extract and burn, the worse climate change will get. All countries need to move their economies away from fossil fuels as soon as possible. Invest in renewable energy. Changing our main energy sources to clean and renewable energy is the best way to stop using fossil fuels. This includes technologies like solar, wind, wave, tidal, and geothermal power. Switch to sustainable transport. Petrol and diesel vehicles, planes, and ships are used fossil fuel. Reducing car use, switching to electrical vehicles, and minimize plane travel will not help stop climate change. It will reduce air pollution to help us keep our homes cozy. Homes should not be draughty and cloud. It's a waste of money and miserable in the winter. The government can help households heat our homes in a green way, such as by insulating walls and roofs and switching away from oil and gas boilers to heat pumps. Improve farming and encourage vegan diets. One of the best ways for individuals to help stop climatic change is by reducing their meat and dairy consumption or by going fully vegan. Business and food retailers can improve farming practices and provide more plant based products to help people make the shift. Protect forests like the Amazon. Forests are crucial in the fight against climatic change, and protecting them is an important climatic solution. Cutting down forests on an industrial scale destroys giant trees, which could be sucking up huge amount of carbon. Yet companies destroys forests to make way for animal farming, soya or palm oil plantation. Governments can stop them by making better laws. Protect the oceans. Oceans also absorb large amount of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which helps to keep our climate stable. But many are overfished, used for oil and gas drilling, are threatened by deep sea mining. Protecting oceans and the life in them is ultimately a way to protect ourselves from the climate change. Reduce how much people consume. Our transport, fashion, food, and other lifestyle choices all have different impacts on the climate. This is often by design. Fashion and technology companies, for example, will release far more products than are realistically needed. But while reducing consumption of these products might be hard, it's most certainly worth it. Reducing overall consumption in more wealthy countries can help put less strain on the planet. Reduce plastic. Plastic is made from oil and process of extracting, refining and turning oil into plastic is surprisingly carbon intense. It doesn't break down quickly in nature, so a lot of plastic is burned, which contributes to emissions. Demand for plastics is rising so quickly that creating and disposing of plastic will account for 17% of global carbon budget by 2050. Conclusion. To do the latter, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has concluded that global greenhouse gas emissions need to be reduced by about 45% by 2030 and to reach net zero by 2050. Thank you.